Well. You guys, so yesterday I had turned on the camera, brought you guys with me to do all kinds of adventures and just, whatever I happen to be doing here on the ranch. Well, let me tell you, I had not noticed even before I started my vlog yesterday that the microphone on my camera was kaput. But I still kind of want to share the story of what had happened yesterday, because I feel like a lot of other folks might be in the same position that I am with my chickens eating their eggs. And so I thought, while I am mixing up a batch of sourdough, I'll tell you what I was doing yesterday. And so I was Googling different ideas on how I can help fix this issue. And I came across one really cool idea. It's not my idea. I came across it on YouTube. And what this guy was doing was he was taking paint cans, paint tin rollers, and he was making those into a rolling nest box. So that the eggs, when they're laid on one end, roll down to the other end. Which I thought was pretty smart. So I was thinking, if my chickens don't have access to their eggs, they're not going to eat them, right? So that was the idea behind it anyway. So I went to Home Depot. I got the supplies that I needed for it, or at least the supplies that I thought that I needed to start off the project. Tins, ugly green turf grass stuff, and adhesive to adhere the two. And I go up to the chicken coop. And I've tried for a while to fit it in there, but there's so many different obstacles that I was coming across, whether it be because of the size of the existing nesting box or the lip on the outside, which I specifically asked for it to be there so that the straw and stuff doesn't come out and they don't usually kick their eggs out. So I was just brainstorming for quite a while, trying to figure out how I could make this easy fix work. The bottom line is, I did not get it figured out. I even tried kind of playing around with an old piece of gutter that I had laying around, thinking that I could make the bottoms tilted enough to where they'll fall into the gutter and I can collect them from in the gutter. Throughout the entire time, I was trying not to get discouraged. I have a tendency of just kind of being like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. That's the solution. That's what I want. I want it now. Not that I want it now. I want to accomplish it right now. I want to be able to do it myself right now. Right now. Well, newsflash, that's not always possible. But that's the way my brain works. What are we doing here? Look at that floating in there. It's so nice. It's not always possible to accomplish what you set your mind to right now, right away. I want it now. All I have is the ambition and the heart to get the project done. I don't actually have the tools or the skills. Through all of that, I was just admiring our sheep and feeding them and loving them and admiring our cute little new babies. So it wasn't a total loss for sure. I did do not have the roll away egg setup that I'm hoping I will have right now, but you know, it's okay. It's okay. I'll figure it out. Right on the button, right on the button. After that, I decided, you know what, time to go check on the cows. And so I did that. The cows, we do rotational grazing. We move our cattle around to each paddock. They come back to the original paddock every 2 months. So it's a 2-month rotation. Anywho, even you weren't aware already, Hamakua Homestead is based at a cattle ranch. That's what we are. We are a cattle ranch. We raise beef cattle and we sell them live. The name of the ranch, of course, is not Hamakua Homestead. That's my YouTube channel. But that is our sole purpose on this land. That is what we do. That is what we are. We are cattle ranchers. So, on this particular beautiful day, yesterday, it was time for me to move them from one side of the road to the other side of the road. Very easy process. We have it set up where each of the gates, if you know which gates to look for, follow and go on to the next paddock. Sometimes it requires crossing a driveway, sometimes it doesn't. So anyways, we went ahead and did that yesterday, got everybody all buttoned up. We just simply open and close the appropriate gates to make the cows be able to be where you want them, when you want them. It's generally a very, very easy thing to do. Now, we do not feed our cows anything but grass and minerals. We don't feed them corn or oats, barley, no fillers, nothing like that. They are simply 100% grass-fed. And of course, there are certain minerals that in today's day and age with our soil, you know, we're on like volcanic soil, so it is different than other places sometimes. But there's certain deficiencies, you know, selenium, copper, things like that, that some animals require. So we add that in there as well. So after I allow them to come through the gate, graze on the side of the road a little bit, especially on a spot like that where it is really, really overgrown, and you know, the grass, you know, it doesn't create big damage to vehicles, but it does cause a bunch of micro scratches as you're driving your cars and your trucks nearby. So it's good to have them kind of whack it back a little bit for us. I'm not the one that typically deals with the cows on a daily basis or weekly basis. That's usually my sweetheart. But yesterday, it was necessary for me to do so. I typically take care of the sheep and the chickens. My son helps me with the sheep and the chickens. And then my sweetheart usually deals with the cows. And so after we were done moving them, I just went on the other side of the gate and left them to it. They're going to munch, munch, munch on the side of the road and then make their way to the new paddock, which is really, really close by, once they're ready. And then in the morning, I go back and I close up all the gates. They're already found the new grass where they should be. There's usually nobody lingering behind unless there's really young babies, which right now we don't have, so it's all good. Close up the gates and wait until it's time to move them to another paddock. And then by the time we were done with that, it was about time to go feed the chickens and also feed the bulls. We practice seasonal breeding, which means we don't want our cows just getting pregnant any old time. But you don't have a cold winter in Hawaii, Tiffany. Why does it matter? Well, I'll tell you why. It matters because we sell our calves. And when we sell them, we want them all to be of similar age and size. Now, a lot of times other folks, ranchers on the mainland where there's a lot more evident seasons, you know, where you have a really hot summer and a nice springtime, and then it's, you know, freezing cold temperatures in the winter. There's other reasons for those folks to do seasonal breeding beyond what we do. But for us, it's all about sales. We sell our calves twice a year, and we don't want to have a couple 500-pound calves and a couple 200-pound calves. In addition, we want to make sure that they're weaned off at the right time for their health and for the health of their mothers. Let me wash up. All of that to say, we currently have our bulls separated. These are new bulls. If you go back and look at previous videos, it's kind of dirty. So a few months ago, we slaughtered our bulls because bulls are all fine and dandy when they're nice and cooperative for being a 2,000-pound animal. That's all fine. But once they get to be a little bit older, they do start to show signs of orneriness. They get old and grouchy. So we took our 6-7-year-old bulls a few months ago and took them out for slaughter. Recently, just about 2 months ago, we purchased these new bulls. These new bulls are about 1 year old. They could be a little older than that, but regardless, they're still really young and really nice. They have not come accustomed to the way that we function just yet, so that's what we're working on by feeding them. We just recently took them out of the paddock with the females so that they won't get pregnant during this period of time. So we have them close up here by the house so that we can keep an eye on them, make sure that they're not jumping fences to get to the women, and feed them. The purpose of feeding them is not to fatten them up or anything like that. The purpose in feeding them is to make it so that they will associate a bucket with somewhere they want to go. Essentially, we want to be able to move them across the road with a bucket. It's worked in the past, and it is starting to work now. Yesterday, what you're seeing here is the first time that I have noticed them coming up to the fence before I walk away. Usually they do not, and they wait until I turn around and start to walk away, then they come up to get the food that I had just dumped for them. So that is the beginning of success, if you ask me. After we fed the bulls, we went up to feed the chickens. I was gonna show you guys and tell you all about my grub terra treats and how awesome they are, and high in protein, dried dead bugs, high in protein. The chickens go crazy for them, and I was gonna tell you all about it and show you. But then I realized I had already given them too much because I had run out of my chicken treats. Oh! But regardless, the link is down below. So if you haven't already, check out the grub terra treats that are in the description box down below. Going back to the chicken thing, before I went and visited my sister in Missouri, I had sat in the chicken coop for a little while, trying to figure out who's eating eggs, if I can narrow it down, what's going on. What I discovered was that it is mostly the chickens that are laying on the ground. There's a bunch of straw and shavings all over on the ground inside the coop. And so the chickens, when the boxes are full, the other ones will lay down below. As soon as she gets up, everybody else swoops in and gobbles up the egg. I saw this happen 3 or 4 times. So then I got to thinking, well, what if I just take away their opportunity to comfortably lay on the ground? They're not going to want to lay on a cement floor. So that's what I did. I scooped out all of the stuff, grabbed it, put it in my compost, and I left them with a bare cement floor so that hopefully they will just lay in their boxes, and that will provide less opportunities for the other chickens to eat the eggs. Why don't we go check and see exactly how the chicken coop is doing? I want to see how nasty dirty the floor is now that they don't have straw to poop on, but also I want to see how many whole eggs I have in the coop now that they don't have the opportunity to lay on the ground. I'm not sure if that was an improvement at all. There's 27 eggs in here, but I think that yesterday I failed to bring the eggs, and I think there was roughly 10. Let's just check in to make sure that they didn't lay a bunch outside. It does not appear as though they did. I don't know. Maybe it was helpful. I don't know. It's hard to say if there is an actual improvement. I'm really not sure. But at least having glanced at it, we know what's going on. Well, at least a little bit. At least we won't be surprised. At least there won't be any big surprises later in a few hours when I come to feed them and take care of them. I'll at least have a better understanding of what's happening inside the chicken coop. Hi. How are you? One last thing before we go. I do want to go check and see if I have any sprouts, because I planted a whole bunch the other day and I'm anxious to see what's going on out there in the garden. I think once I walk over there a little bit, it'll be too windy for you to be able to hear me, but I do want to show you. More zinnias. Over here, we have garlic. This is our very first garlic that I have ever grown. There's several of them. 5, 6, 7. Sorry for the wind. There's at least 7 garlics over there and a bunch of zinnias. Ooh, this is sprouting. Raise your hand if you remember what we planted right here. Could be cilantro, could be bok choy. They're only 1 day old, so it's kind of hard for me to tell what exactly it is. In a couple days, I might be able to tell the difference. Hamakua Homestead. Hi. 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 A hungry kitty. Well, that's going to do it for today, you guys. I thank you so much for joining me today and yesterday on the Hamakua Homestead. I'll see you again soon.